name is Annemarie Garvey, and I'm excited for the opportunity to apply to be a smart exemplary educator. I've been with the Philadelphia School District for over 30 years, and most of that time has been in full-time staff development. So I've worked with teachers in curriculum, materials, instruction, and of course a lot with technology as the technology came into the schools. We started just with computers, but it's much more exciting now to teach teachers how to teach with the smartboard. I'm often called on by faculties and principals throughout the city to run their workshops, their faculty meetings, and their in-service days, especially with smartboards now, since we are getting more and more of them into the schools. I started using the smartboard about 8 years ago when it was first brought into a school as a pilot, and we've gotten so excited about it, we've been using it ever since. I always show teachers how to use the tools up at the top, and teachers catch on to that very quickly. Show them how they can use the split screen so that one day they can do the graphic organizer, and the next day the story frame is right there, so teachers can see very quickly what it would look like to have had their work up one day, working and brainstorming with the students, and then the next day carry over that to their story frame. Another thing that I do is I show teachers that it's important for them to create activities that resemble what the students will see on a standardized test. This is an example of something that I did for a kindergarten class, and I like to use the shade because it helps the teachers and the students focus on what it is. The teacher can model, explain how to do it, and then drop it down so that the students can then come up and do it themselves. When I start, the first thing, as I said, I always show teachers how to do just simple things with Smart Notebook. When we get into, in the second workshop or a third workshop, we get into really learning the language activity toolkit. And one of the first things I always have teachers do to hook them is to show them the random word chooser, and we put in the students' names in the classrooms, and then we have what in the old days would just have been popsicle sticks is now the high-tech way to call on students to interact in the classroom. This is always there, it's always up, and it's minimized, and then teachers have that whenever they want them to come up to the smartboard or even just call on them in the classroom, it's there for them. This is an example of a teacher that I worked with. We had 2 workshops at his school, and then he sat and created using the various aspects of the language activity toolkit, brought in the information, tags, he brought in the timeline for his students to be able to use. For some reason that's not coming up right now. The other thing that I like to do is teachers will often ask if I can help them in presentations. This was a 5th grade parent night, a curriculum night, and the teacher had been working with social studies, and she wanted the parents to see exactly the kind of things that the students do. So we created this little thing which automatically can tell them right away whether or not parents love the fact that they knew whether or not their guess was correct when they did that. And then we played a little game where they could concentrate now on the solar system, so we could play with various ideas, and then we would turn them over and they could decide what the correct answers were. This just gives you a brief example of the kinds of activities and things that I've done with Smart Notebook. The pathways that I would like to concentrate on if I am chosen to be a smart exemplary educator would be the education advisory. I have presented at many national conventions and never had a smartboard. I'd love to be able to talk about the smartboard and what it does and how it can benefit teachers in the classroom. And I also would like to do part of the market and product advisory. I'm in a lot of schools all throughout the city of Philadelphia. I work with teachers and students, and I'd like to test out products that Smart comes up with. I think it would be a great opportunity to do that. Thank you. Did I give him